I mean, it's tough. I mean, I just put something out there on Reddit that someone was like, "Your game sucks." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
I mean, it's brutal out there, but I mean, it's. I think one of the things that I know I do when something like that happens, or uh, they say something like, just you're just like, okay, well, that hurt my feelings. But I break it down to like what they're actually saying. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, what they said is this, but what they mean is that I need to improve these aspects of the game to an extent where that's not really unless they're just totally being a jerk. But I know what that's how we've kind of approached the community. But like, people are going to be jerks, but sometimes there's information within them being a jerk that can kind of be valid. That can kind of be like, okay, maybe we do need to reassess or relook at how we're approaching this particular problem with our game or whatever it is.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's tough though. I mean, the community, I mean, it's one of those things you're like, I know it's important, but how do I tap it?
Yeah,
How do I really tap it to make it effective and useful so that people just don't so it's not just like I'm just going in there to just get beat up all day long, you know?
it
Um
was. Oh, sorry.
no, no,
What
no,
were you
that
gonna
was
say?
it. That was it. I mean, and then
Oh,
I just um what this is where you take a little bit of break. I'm trying to kind of reformulate. If you guys have any
no, all
ideas, but
good.
I was trying to looking back at some of the notes here. Let's see. How much time do you guys spend on, like, let's say like a weekly basis? And how do you organize what takes priority on like what needs, like, you're like, okay, this needs to get addressed first. Like it could be art, it could be UI elements, it could be literal code, it could be music, it could be so many different things that you're like, okay, this is what we need to work on. And how do you guys organize that between the two of you guys?
Yeah, so we have a shared doc. It's literally just a Google Doc that's just a list of things that we need to improve. And then, I think because it's just us two, it's actually really easy to just like text each other reminders of what needs to be done. Like I'm gonna get Josh a new background for a snow level that we're doing pretty soon here, and he was just able to remind me real easily. And as for time, it's a bit hard for me to quantify. I would say definitely my main priority, of course, is school. So I don't have the most amount of time in the world, but probably uh every few days I'll work 1 or 2 hours on it. So probably probably around there.
Yeah, I mean, a little con of not being very good at forcing myself to do work is that the time I spend on the game working on it varies vastly between weeks. Like, I had a week where I'd stay up till like 5 a.m. every night to work on it just because I was so into it. And then the next week, I just didn't work on it at all, maybe for like 5 minutes total. So it definitely varied a ton. I'm still getting consistent work done on it now, especially because we're approaching release. And so I definitely just have to start working on it, regardless of what I do. As for the priority, I mean, we have definitely a priority of things we want to do. Like, we need to get the levels done. We have like maybe one left, one or two left. And that's not super hard, but it does take a lot of like mental thought and energy to think about like what would make it fun, what's a unique idea that the player like might not have seen before, what's the unique puzzle they can figure out. And so while that's definitely the thing I need to do most, I tend to get distracted sometimes and I start working on other various random things, like improving the UI, just changing the colors in it, for example, if I get bored of working on the level. So it kind of just flips back and forth between the high priority things and then the things like there's very small polishing things that I want to do because I just want the game to look a little better and I'm tired of trying to work on puzzles.
Yeah, and that's actually, I just realized like what's like, we all have to have a date, a goal of where we're going. You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like to you guys? And have you set almost like like a set of like benchmarks to be like, okay, if we hit X and when we launch, we should achieve, Y. You know what I mean? Have you guys kind of theorized that plan out a little bit? And if you have, like, what does that look like? It's
Josh,
a
you wanna
tough
go
one.
ahead?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah, I
mine?
can reframe it if you want. Yeah,
Yeah,
or
no,
give you an example.
I mean,
I
we have goals. I think we had to push back the release date already once because we totally underestimated how long all of these tasks we had would take.
Mhm.
Like they seem so easy when they're written on a list, and then you get into actually doing them, and they're so hard. Especially something like fixing a bug that I thought I fixed 3 times already, and it still keeps popping up.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
yeah,
But
I would
yeah,
sorry.
no, you can go. That's honestly all I really had. To say.
Gotcha, yeah. I think yeah, the pause was mainly because we actually don't really have as set dates.
Yeah,
So I think that's kind of the reason for that. But once the competition ended, that's kind of when it got to be slightly, at our own pace, which definitely won't be an option as we get closer and closer to the release date. I think Josh and I are going to work towards actually probably getting a spreadsheet of different things and that need to be done and different times with that. Um,
When is that release
but
date real quick?
currently it's set
April
for April 8th.
April 8th.